great pleasure to be here, and with the excellent panel we have today, all arriving from Saudi Arabia. So I think we've got the right audience listening to the experts on the panel. I would like to expand a little bit first before we go into a few questions and answers on some numbers which were presented this morning on Saudi Arabia. And I looked up on the Ministry of Tourism data, which is publicly available, a little bit to diversify some numbers between domestic and inbound tourism into Saudi Arabia. In 2023, we had 109 million tourists arriving into Saudi Arabia, in which 27 million are inbound and 82 million domestic tourism. So you see the strong number of domestic tourism is a key pillar within Saudi Arabia. And out of the 82 million domestic tourism, it splits between 65 million Saudis and around 16 million of non-Saudis. Top destinations, as everybody could assume, is moving more into the religious approach, where Mecca had a 22.6 million tourist arrival, followed by Riyadh with 16.3, and the Eastern Province with 13 million. So the domestic tourism is a key driver for today's and for futures tourism direction of Saudi Arabia. And Frank, let me start with you. You've got the biggest airline carrier you are looking after from a digital environment. How has Saudi Arabia's vision impacted your sector in particular? You've just rebranded recently into a new approach. Yes. But where do you see your changes and the future opportunities across the vision which has been signed off?
Absolutely. So we are part of Vision 2030. We are expected to provide a significant growth in terms of inbound specifically. We are expected to drive the target of 300 million guests in 2030. Based on our current fleet with 144 planes, we are at a starting point, and we've been walking through a transition in the last 3 years because we managed to bring the airline and to prepare the airline for this growth story. We expect to get another 131 planes, airways, in the next till 32, as far as I know. And that's going to drive our growth. And that's going to be our contribution for the growth story for Saudi Arabia overall.
Okay, great. Rob, you look after Almosafer, Sarah, which is the largest, I hope.
Yes.
Travel company in Saudi Arabia. So where do you see the trends coming from? Also considering a little bit the domestic and the inbound tourism.
Sure. Obviously, we're in a very unique situation in Almosafer because we get to see inbound and outbound travel. And I think that one of the biggest things that we've seen is that as Saudi Arabia has opened up, it's made the individuals in Saudi, the travelers in Saudi, become more intrigued and interested in what's happening. I was amazed. I've been there for 6 years. When I first went, I wanted to explore, and I went to places such as Taif, Tabuk, Abha, etc. And I had colleagues who were Saudis that had never been there and were like, "Why are you going there?" And I'm like, "Well, this is new territory to explore." And now suddenly, fast forward 6 years later, we have people traveling to Abha for the summer. We have people traveling, obviously, now to the Red Sea resorts for weekends, etc. So there's a huge change that we've seen. And I think that it's fantastic that the youth especially have started to really explore the kingdom. Obviously, there's a lot of events taking place from Al-Ula to Jeddah, across the whole kingdom. So it's really, I think, seeing this embracement of exploring their own country, but also at the same time, it's not like we've seen any reduction in travel from an outbound perspective as well. They still want to explore globally, but domestic travel is really something which was never there before, that took off. And I think as well was a great benefit that came from the pandemic as well. They obviously supported tourism domestically, and this really started to get people to be intrigued in the kingdom itself.
visiting friends and families is a key segment within Saudi Arabia from a domestic travel. And I'm sure with all the destinations opening and Frank, you've got how many airports?
28 airports we are serving. And you know, some people sometimes underestimate the size of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia has the size of the entire Western Europe. I think it's the 12th biggest country in the world. And if you would like to drive from Riyadh to Alula, it will take you 12 hours driving through the desert. And that's where air connectivity plays a major role in the future. That's where we need to build products that are helping customers to experience the richness of the, let's say, landmarks of Saudi Arabia. There are, I think, 8 UNESCO cultural heritage places that are spread around the country. And this is a huge opportunity to discover this country.
Yeah. Sami, you look after some of the greatest assets of the Red Sea.
Some of the assets of the Red Sea, yes.
But the ones who have the most beautiful pictures, which everybody most probably in the audience is aware of.
It's not very difficult. I mean, the landscape and the sceneries are just extraordinary. For me, I just wanted to I'm fairly new to Saudi. I've been there only a year and a half, and the destination just blew my mind. You know, we always come with certain ideas of how the destination looks, and when you discover the beauty, the diversity is absolutely incredible. I mean, we have the biggest mountain we have is 3,000 meters high, where it's the temperature reaches below zero, if you can imagine or not. We always think like it's a flat country. We have heritage from the Nabatean tombs, similar to Petra in Jordan, dating from 2,500 before Christ. We have lagoons, which I think Maldives would be jealous to see how pristine they are, not to use your words, Rob. Alola, Rob was mentioning Alola. It's a world-class activated destination, which I will invite everybody. I mean, if there is one destination to go today to Saudi, it is Alola. All the other destinations, including ours, obviously, Red Sea and Amala, are yet to be activated. Yes, we have opened a handful of hotels, 4 at the moment, another 2 by the end of this year. Next year, we're going to be opening another 16 properties, which will mark the phase 1 of our destination launch. This being said, opening hotels, competing or comparing to other destinations, this is not what we're aiming. The name of the game is, similar to what NEOM is doing with their innovative hospitality. Red Sea is heavily focusing. You've seen yesterday Mark talking about people with determination and our passion and commitment towards welcoming everybody and everybody being able to enjoy all the facilities, all the room types, all the activities. So Red Sea is a regenerative destination. What do I mean by that? Is by the Vision 2030, when all the phases will be completed, we will be a carbon neutral destination, aiming to become a carbon negative destination. Amala is similar to Red Sea also with the carbon neutrality, but it has a very strong emphasis on wellness. It's an integrated wellness destination. We will have Clinique La Prairie opening and operating one of our clinic or resort clinic. We'll have Shiva Som with their brand Jaya Som and the like. So, this is just one piece of the puzzle. When you look at the 56 hotels that we will be opening within the next 3 to 4 years, the Red Sea or Red Sea Global with Amala is just a piece of the puzzle, which will be connected by Saudi along with NEOM, with Alola, with Qiddiya, Diriyah. Those of you, or some of you, might have heard about Taif, the city of roses. They produce and export 500 million roses a year. And if you go there, you'll be blown away. You will not think that you're in Saudi Arabia. This is really a country to be discovered. We're very glad and happy to be able to, participate in that creation. Adding Saudi and Saudi Arabia to the already very comprehensive landscape of offering that the entire GCC, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, the UAE, Doha, Bahrain, and the like, and I'm forgetting a few other destinations are offering, complementing each other basically, and becoming, similar to Southeast Asia. We're going to be adding to that portfolio.
Now, with the scale of Saudi Arabia having 26 airports and 32 million population, how does the younger generation, Rob, accept all those changes and the drive, what's currently happening?
I think it's been an incredible change, and I think the youth of Saudi have really embraced the change. I think that one of the greatest things that I've seen and I witness on a daily basis with my team, predominantly most of my team are Saudis, either based in Riyadh or Jeddah, is that they have such a pride in their history, they have a pride in their culture, but at the same time, they understand Vision 2030, they understand the vision of changing the country, and they also are very proud to explore with people from outside of the country as well. When they ever have visitors, it's in the DNA of any Saudi that you meet, is hospitality and openness. It's been trading routes for thousands of years. Obviously, this is seen from you witness in Al Ula, you'll really fully understand how they've welcomed people for centuries across all different cultures. And I think the youth have really embraced this. And I think that there's a lot of, obviously, money being spent and investment being put into training and telling the story and telling a positive story amongst the younger generation. I think that what we still strive to do, and especially in Almosafer, we strive to help my colleagues and our colleagues across the business that there is a career to be made in travel and tourism. This is something that many of them and their parents had never witnessed, that you can actually make a career out of being in travel and tourism, whether that be working for a tourism company, whether it be working for an airline, working for one of the giga projects, etc., is actually being proud to work in the industry. And I think that one thing, as I say, we invest hugely in our teams, and I work with them. And honestly, I see myself not as someone who is showcasing to them what to do. I just want to be an enabler for them to be to create their futures within tourism. And I think that, as I say, from what we have seen so far, obviously there are elements of it which take time. I think that sometimes there's an overwhelming amount of newness, if I can say that. There's an overwhelming change which takes time to embrace, and not everybody is going to embrace it at the same speed. But I think with that, there becomes a great balance between the tradition and the new elements. So I think, as I say, what we're witnessing, what we see within our organization, with organizations that we work with, is this real hunger and this drive and this energy. But the beauty that I see is the fact that no one has forgotten the heritage, the culture, and what they stand for in Saudi for that hospitality.
I think it adds on to the conversations we had this morning about the different generations of baby boomers or generations that 50% of the population is below 40 years of age, or even 35. Yeah. So we have in Saudi Arabia a very young workforce who, as you say, Rob, are tremendously motivated and ambitious to drive the strategies forward. Frank, Saudi has been in the market for a very, very long time, and you've seen from the transition from a very traditional. So where does Saudi see the evolution also on training people, new network systems, new connection points, religious travel? There's so many opportunities.
Yeah, let's talk about Saudi as a company itself. I'm only since 1.5 years in this company, and we were talking about it. I'm living in Jeddah, and I see the change every day. it's really tremendous what's happening in this country. And to be honest, exactly what you've stated, we, and I'm including myself, as well as the entire population, is proud about the developments, right? And they want to be part of this development and making Saudi greater and bigger. With regards to the people, you shouldn't underestimate the level of education of these people, because according to what I know, already 10 years ago, the government started sending students into the world. And I'm talking about huge amount of people, more than 50,000 students a year, according to my understanding. So the people you're getting in touch with are coming from with a US background, with everybody was somewhere, in France, wherever you want to. And there is another force and another power that is developing very fast, which is the women. It's unbelievable, you know, because they are politically equalized. Yeah. And they are the ones who are sitting in the driver's seat. I'm very proud to work with these ladies, and what they're developing and what they're doing is even not comparable what I'm used from Europe, to be honest. So I think there's lots of power that is generated to unlock the potential. That's where I'm coming from. And the average age, very low. Yeah. And the willingness to travel and to explore the world, so also the outbound business is huge, you know, and at the end of the day, it is the biggest country in the Middle East, and that's where a big potential, even from a hotel perspective, is sitting, because these people are connecting to brands. They are the ones who want to explore the world, and they do it on a daily basis.
Can you share a little bit about source markets, to highlight a little bit, where do you see which markets in the long term are being looked at to drive business into Saudi?
Yeah, so for us, we are in a very specific place, right? So Jeddah is the heart of the religious center of the Muslim world, right? So Mecca is 50 kilometers away. It's connected with the HHR train. And so we have a very interesting mixture of religious travelers, pilgrims that are coming to Jeddah, which is creating out of Jeddah a kind of a melting pot, right? So there are millions of people coming in for their religious travel purposes. But if they're coming from long haul, they, according to what we see in any kind of studies, are interested to explore as well the country itself. So we call it Umrah Plus, right? So the people are keen not just to follow their religious practices, but as well to explore the country. And if you take a look into it, then you have a big mix. You know, we have got Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, where we are still having the traditional pilgrims coming in, but we see as well the entire Europe coming up, as well as the US, wherever people are living with let's say, a Muslim background, they have a strong need to come to Jeddah, and I think that's what we will try to develop.
Yeah. So the business model in Saudi is still a bit different than what it is currently in the UAE, where we have our typical tour operator business and putting packages together and selling it internationally, depending a lot on domestic. And you also have a lot of destinations which have not even been launched, as you spoke about Aba, Tabuk, Al-Sia areas, etc., which are still in the pipeline on being launched on the long term. When we look at the international business, where do you see opportunities, Sami, on collaboration? Because you've got your own airport, you have set up, you depend on airlift in order to bring business into the destination. How do you see the collaboration between local international operators? Will it be a similar model like here in the UAE? Or are you exploring other sources?
Well, I think the first thing to do is to put things in perspective and picture this number, 250,000 keys. This is what is going to be built in Saudi Arabia in the next 4 to 5 years. It's huge. Obviously, a big chunk of this is a project called Rural Medina, which is basically for the religious traveler to even further increase this. But the mix or the mix of travelers will obviously evolve with all these referred to the giga projects with the number of keys that are being opened gradually. So Currently, we are not open. I mean, the destination is not fully activated. As I mentioned, there's just a handful of properties. In the next year or so, we're going to be adding a few more, and therefore, we need air access. We're not near any big city. Jeddah is 5 hours by road. Al Ula is 4 hours by road, and Riyadh, I don't think anybody would drive, or perhaps 12 hours or something like this. So you have to fly in. So we've built 2 terminals. The first one, which is for our seaplane, that's the one that we currently use for domestic and international until we open next year, a little bit later next year, our domestic and international terminals. So that will obviously see a huge shift in the airlift that we have. So currently, there is obviously a huge reliance on domestic travel. We've already have now a direct connection twice a week from Dubai. And all this will grow with more regional airlines, from Doha and the region, and expanding as the destination is being activated more into the international market, the US, Europe, India, and also Asia with direct routes from China, because obviously this is a huge market feeder and potential feeder. So, the future looks amazing. I'm just, very excited that, there will be an add-on to the whole region rather than being, competing directly against. People going to Dubai, they go to Dubai for certain purposes. They will come to Saudi for other things to do as a complement or as an extension. So, the world is our playground. Absolutely. And with what's being built currently, it's
fascinating. Who in the audience has not been to Saudi Arabia? So,
you're always welcome.
Okay, almost half.
Excellent.
All right, we hope we gave you a little bit of a taste of what's coming. And, at the moment, if you go to Al Ula, or when you go to Al Ula, by the way, there are direct flights, remember me. I was blown away. It's, I've been there twice already in the span of 6 months, one in the scorching summer and another time at the beginning of the winter. And, both times were phenomenal.
Yeah, I would rather tend to say next year is a breaking point, right? At this stage of time, we are not really on leisure scale, right? But I'm expecting that with you
by the end of next year, yes,
we will see the first scalable business model.
Yeah.
And I think if you go to Al Balad, to the Zouk today in Jeddah, and if you're looking like me, you're the only one with light blonde and gray hairs, right? So the rest of the population is the people that are there. They're buying their food. There's a real dates market. There is no souvenir shops at all. And if I were you, I would take the opportunity to use this authentic structure and to really experience the traditions of Saudi Arabia and this lifestyle. It's really unique. And I think that's the opportunity. Yeah. So I'm a good salesman, I hope. I hope you will all come. And you're always invited. So come and
Rob
take
will
it.
take bookings.
And then think about how to participate on the opportunity of scale.
Yeah. Digital evolution. We've seen the very old traditional visa process for the ones who've been here for a long time, where you had to go to Sharjah and get an invitation letter stamped in order to go and accept it. It took you a couple of hours to get your visa, and then it was a process. Today you go on the website, and within 5 minutes you have your e-visa available, which makes things much, much easier. Rob, Frank, where do you see the technology elements? Because it does play a strong role.
Absolutely. I can sympathize, having been there for a long time, trying to do a lot of different processes. Was very paper-driven and heavy. I think that what we've seen is obviously, I think one of the great things is that there's obviously a lot of capital behind being able to evolve the destination, which has obviously been opening up. And technology has been at the forefront of that. And now they have made it very, very simplified. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that they needed to overcome, is to make it like the welcoming process is part of that welcoming process is how easy is it to get into the country? How easy is it to communicate, to understand? And they're slowly bringing all of the technology together to bring it into a centralized area. The Saudi Tourism Authority work very, very hard to push their app. And they actually allow, like as us as a business in Almosafer with our Discover Saudi DMC, we obviously provide a lot of information. We provide a lot of tours. We provide a lot of expertise to that app as well. So I think they've been very much seen that everybody has to be part of that digital transformation. And then also on top of that, being able to incorporate some of the latest technologies when it comes to AI, etc. When you actually visit a destination, and as Sami seems to have been promoting Al Ula more than the Red Sea, I'll carry on.
Well, it's a fully activated destination. It's ready.
And
it's
absolutely.
You know,
And
it's world class.
Exactly. And the way that they've taken technology, when you visit any of the historical sites, when the information which is at your fingertips by using your mobile phone, translations, imagery of what was there before now, etc. It's incredible to see how they've taken that technology for people who are visiting, whether it be domestic, whether it be international, to really fully understand, even to do their restaurant reservation booking whilst they're walking around in the afternoon at a historical site. They can check what availability there is at a cafe in a date farm. It is absolutely fantastic and incredible. And I think also as well, like you see, and I have to compliment Frank on the Saudia digital transformation, because I can tell you 6 years ago, trying to book a flight with Saudi, it wasn't the easiest. Or trying to get like seat allocation and waiting for an OTP to come just because you wanted to change your seat to a window was difficult. But now, like honestly, like the transformation I've seen you guys go through is incredible.
Yes, definitely. I think we've had a 3 years transformation program. We have now reached not only the level of a standard airline in Middle East, I would say, with regards to digital experience. We are even going in some stages ahead. You know, we have launched a travel companion, which is a Gen AI solution where people can chat and where they can discover, let's say, a fully established travel product. We are about to launch and relaunch our holidays as well as our Umrah business, where we are going to implement as well AI-driven solutions. I think we've captured, you know, the level of the average. And now it's time to leapfrog and to take the next step. And this is a great opportunity, and you shouldn't ask a digital guy about digital, you know, otherwise I will capture the entire night. But this country is willing to make it, right? It's really, there is everybody who wants to be on the forefront of the AI discussion, right? And there's nobody who doubts about it. And that's I think, the next step we are going to make. And
If I may just add at a more micro level, just at you know, Red Sea Global, you know, besides the regenerative tourism that we're trying to implement, you know, we produce all our electricity through solar farms. We produce all our water through RO systems, etc., etc. But imagine you have 56 hotels, multi-brands. The guests will be able to go to any hotel and charge whatever services that they consume in a brand and have it charged to their room. So the connectivity, interfacing, obviously protecting data, you know, integrity is key. So this is not a very easy process to do when you talk to an Intercontinental and then to a Fairmont and then to you know, to a Rosewood or a Four Seasons, to try to have all this floating around. The other thing also, why we also think that we're trying to be a little bit at the forefront of technology. Red Sea Global is going to airport, so RSI as its code today. Airport is a luggage-less airport. So as you will be checking in, let's say from Dubai, you're going to be landing in RSI, you're going to be transported directly to your hotel and your luggage will be there. So you do not collect your luggage. your luggage will go from the aircraft directly to your room. Similarly, when you check out, before you check out your room, you will have your boarding pass and we would have collected your luggage. So you do not transport your luggage until, and the next time you see your luggage will be at your final destination. So all this obviously is a logistic nightmare, as you can imagine, you know, from technology to the human efficiency and everything. So we've piloted this, we've tested it already in few of our resorts, addressing all the little, hiccups. But the name of the game is, with our 56 resorts, you will be arriving directly into your room and your luggage will be there. And you will be departing from your room with your boarding pass in your hand and your luggage being already looked after. So these are the kind of technology integration that we're looking at, and we're working obviously in close collaboration with Saudi on all these processes.
So with regards to the visa, right? We have a stopover product, which is fantastic, stopover Umrah. And if you book the flight, the issuing of the stopover visa is part of the overall booking process. And at the end of the day, the visa is issued within a couple of minutes, right? So this is what we are working on. We are not just working with individual hotels. We are going to launch in a couple of months a door-to-door service for most of the airports, because this is what is expected from our guests, and this is the next level of, let's say, of customer experience to really optimize the end-to-end customer experience. So these are the things we are working on, and I think it works also because we are collaborating, right? Strongly with all participants in the country, which makes a big difference.
I think with not having too much legacy, particularly in Red Sea, you're starting something from scratch. You're quite open to think through the customer journey very differently and enable all the roadblocks which you might have in place of existing destinations where you need to convince change management stronger. Here you enable the customer journey very differently, and you're able to take things much, much further. And I think with Saudi Arabia, transformation was a bit more challenging, but I think the demand is there, that change is requested by everybody. So sustainability is a big word, particularly when you create a new destination. It's a sensitive touch point, particularly creating a new destination. Sami, you already touched on some points on, own water, electricity. Any more direction you can add to, we had some conversation on sustainability yesterday.
You're all hoteliers, or most of you are hoteliers, so you know that little card that you have in the room. If you put the towel on the floor, we will replace it. If you don't, then you will keep it. The change of bedsheet, all this kind of thing. This is obviously going to be in place, but we went, because we're developing an entire destination, we went a little bit further away further ahead of that. Red Sea is the size of Belgium. Okay, that's our territory. It's the size of Belgium with only 56 resorts. Golf courses, a bit of residential, some yacht clubs, and so forth. But the density is not huge. So our zone, or the moment you reach our perimeter, no normal car will be allowed. So your car will be parked at the welcome center, and we will be transporting you with electric vehicle. There will be no more, petrol, diesel, whatever vehicle. Similar, all our water sports are electric. There will be no jet ski having this, as you know, the sound of the lovely jet ski. Very fun for one person, the person who rides it, and that's it. We have also seaplanes for people to go from the airport directly to the mono island or the standalone islands. We're converting these seaplanes with biodiesel, similar to all our fleet of boats and yachts. So, we're really going towards, that extra mile. We have 90 islands. We're developing only 20. That's it. We're not, overpopulating. Similar to what, a little bit like what Maldives has done. They haven't touched too many of the islands. So all that area is being managed. So the first hurdle that we need to go through if we want to do anything, even if we want to raise a wall or anything, is through our sustainability committee. Yeah. They will come, they will ensure that there is no disruption. Shibara Island is a perfect, this is an island that we've just opened a couple of weeks ago, on November 10th. This is the one with the, the orbs or the pods. I don't know if you've seen the picture. It sits on a 7 kilometer of, lagoon and mangroves. Our sustainability team has said you're not allowed to build an island, to take land from there. So what we said, okay, we're going to preserve all the islands, its natural habitat with the birds and the turtles and everything. We're going to build an island that will be very close to that mangrove. So everything is done basically without touching and considering all the environment. So, from technology with solar farms to trying to avoid as much as possible, or actually once the whole project is done, there will be no regular fuel, diesel, petrol reaching our shores.
Excellent.
So,
great.
When
people speak to me about Saudi Arabia and the UAE, they said, oh, is Saudi Arabia taking the business away from the UAE and it's going to shift over? Rob, what's your thoughts on the opportunities? Is it going to be different? Is it to be the same?
No, I think obviously the discussion that we've just had here in sort of 30 minutes showcases that it's a completely different field. Like a lot of people always have said to me, oh, Dubai, Saudi. I'm like, you're comparing a city and a state to a whole country. I think, as we've mentioned before, and I think as Sami said as well, it's about complementing. I think one of the great things that's happened in Saudi Arabia is that they've taken a lot of what's happened elsewhere around the world, whether it be the Maldives, Europe, UAE, etc., and sort of elevated that. But at the same time, it's a full understanding and consideration that sort of to feed Al-Ula, to feed Red Sea, there has to be flights from Dubai. There has to be like Dubai has created one of the most fantastic tourism projects ever. So I think that it's more of a complementary side of that. I think what they have had the ability to be able to do is that one of the beauties is that Saudi has so much of its own natural heritage and culture to incorporate into that as well. Al-Ula, it was a destination waiting to be explored. It is the crown and the jewel of, I would say, Saudi's tourism at the moment. But even if you go to cities, Riyadh, there is a huge amount of history. Al-Balad in Jeddah, there is so much there already. It creates an added element to what we have. So I would say it's a great complement to what has been created here in Dubai.
Great. I think we could stand here another hour or 2 hours and going into more and more details of Saudi. I don't know, do we have questions, Mona, Rania, from the audience we should take, or somebody does have any questions?
So I was saying that it's great to see the accessibility, the sustainability of the destination and the vision of being a destination for everyone. Where does it sit, the budget client in that? Because you were talking about Rosewood, Four Seasons, Kempinski, but not much of the budget client or the mid-scale client in that?
Yes. Listen, the whole destination, again, Red Sea Global does not represent Saudi. It's an element of, okay? So the way Red Sea Global has been phased out, it has been decided to basically put it in the market for phase 1 with luxury product, okay? There will be other destinations, Al-Ula. Again, we keep on referring back to Al-Ula, but when Al-Ula opened, they only had luxury product. There was a banyan tree and our habitats, yes. 5-star. The price was extremely high. They were the only one in the market, etc. And then gradually you started seeing the opening of Cloud9 and other properties. There is an amazing property called Dartantura, which is, there's no electricity. Everything is with candle. Yeah. And it's inside the old city, so you feel like you're in a Hollywood movie or in Marrakesh or somewhere. It's absolutely magical. So The further development will also incorporate upper upscale, more lifestyle properties, etc. All this is in the plan. It's in the making. The phase one is based on. I mean, if you today you go and search Red Sea resorts, you have the St. Regis, which is a single island. You have Ritz-Carlton Reserve, single island, Shibara, single island, and our desert resort by Six Senses. All these are priced well above a couple of $1,000 per night. Okay, but we've started opening with our most luxurious product, and as we continue opening, there will be more properties that are reachable to a wider audience.
I think adding to what Sami says, I think if you look back how Dubai was launched a couple of years ago,
5 stars.
You had a similar setup of premium hotel products, and there was a lack of mid-scale and affordable hotels. So I think, the colleagues in the audience coming from the big brands, from Marriott, IHG, or Hilton, their pipeline growth in Saudi is tremendous, and all brands within their portfolio will be presented. So you will have a good mix of different levels of, like what Sami says, mid-scale, upper upscale.
We need to say, we are always talking about the big landmarks that are under development, but if you go to Mecca, if you go to Medina, if you go to Jeddah or to Riyadh, that's where volume scale is available, and that's where the variety of hotels is as well available. So you can get from 2 stars till 5, and the prices have come down, right? And this is what is expected
Absolutely.
With regards to the other part as well. So it's just a question how fast the country is scaling up, and I think it was a wise decision to start on the super luxurious standpoint of view, because perhaps we don't want to come into cheap tourism.
Correct.
But still, we want to come into scalable volumes, right? So, and it needs to be identified. Where is the sweet spot? And I think the way it's developed is exactly showing the direction.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody. I see our time is gone, although we had 50 minutes. It didn't feel like 50 minutes. I think we could have expanded that a little bit further. But thank you again for having the pleasure and speaking a bit about Saudi. I think it should be an expanded point in future conferences, because there's so much to talk about. And I think I can only welcome everybody who has not been to come and see what's been built. And it's a great opportunity in the hospitality and travel industry to see what is being created and being part of the journey, like some of you were 20 years, 25 years ago in Dubai. So I think it's fascinating. Thank you very much. And thank you to the panel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.